What's good, y'all? I hope all is well. I'm well, and if you're not feeling well, you're definitely going to be well. I speak that over your life. Today, we are going to break down the story of Adam and Eve. Okay, so let's begin in the book of Genesis. And it says, "In the beginning, God created heaven and earth." Let me hold your hand when I say this. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. There are two places that exist, heaven and earth. Catch it. And the earth was without form and void. The earth was without chaos and confusion. So this is definitely before humanity existed. And darkness was upon the face of the deep. This is a space that's impossible to measure. It's impossible to comprehend because there is no beginning or end. It's just pure darkness. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. In this particular verse, he is not speaking of physical or liquid water that you can see or drink, but in Hebrew, water is mem. It is M-E-M. It's the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it means to reveal, to give wisdom or knowledge to. So he is saying, through my spirit, I am going to reveal the story of my creations. And after this scripture, he goes into details and reveals how life was brought into existence. Let's talk about the firmament. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. In school, they gave us a globe and told us the earth was round, and that's not true. The earth is flat land and it is covered by this transparent glass like dome. It is impossible to leave the earth. No one has ever left the earth. For one, that glass like structure cannot be broken, and two, the entire structure is surrounded by water. So we can only come to one conclusion. There is a God that is greater than you and I because someone had to build that structure. There is another point that I would like to make before we move on. God said, "Let there be light." God said, "Let there be a firmament." God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass," and it was so. He said it. He created this realm by thought and spoke it into existence. You speak your reality into existence. Whatever you say, it is so. Adam has been formed from the dust of the ground, and he has been given a companion and a helpmate to help him maintain the overall beauty of the garden. Please note that they are in a garden, so they are eating organic food. So it has been made very clear that they are free to eat from any tree in the garden except this one tree, and that is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So, out of curiosity, Eve begins to wonder why God says not to eat from this one tree. He never explains why, he just expects them to be obedient. So, there is a serpent in this garden, and he is tempting her to eat from the tree. And she goes back and forth with the serpent until she finally gives in. The serpent is not a physical animal, the serpent is the voice of temptation. She is battling her inner voice and her conscience about doing what's right or what's wrong. When she eats the fruit, she becomes aware that they have a body and discovers the secret of sexuality. They become addicted to pleasures of the flesh, indulging in food and sex, and neglecting their purpose and responsibility in maintaining the garden. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. It is good because it was going to be introduced to them later in life as means to procreate. And of course, we need food that provides nutrient. It's essential for our survival. It's evil when we begin to abuse it, when it becomes an obsession and addiction. Desires of the flesh will always lead to suffering because it is never satisfied. You have to make a choice, either control the flesh or it will be the cause of your demise. James 1:13 says that no one say he is tempted. I am being tempted by God, for God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each person is tempted when he is lured and tempted by his own desires. So God said that they would truly die, and to die is to be separated from God. They died when they were cast down to earth. They suffered a spiritual death. So he decides that they do not complement each other well together. So not only were they separated from God, but they had to be separated from each other. So this is the original sin. And to sin, it means to miss the mark, to deliberately make the wrong choice, to leave the path. And when you leave the path, you will continuously come back to earth, continue this cycle of suffering until you come back in union with God. So there is a hidden meaning behind the names Adam and Eve. Adam is mankind and Eve is the mother of living, but it is originally Ish and Isha. Ish is man and Isha is woman. In Hebrew, it is Aleph Shin Hey. Aleph is oneness, Shin is to return, and Hey cannot be pronounced. It is a letter that represents the breath of God. So it is Aleph Shin Hey, to return to oneness with God the way it was originally designed. A part of your purpose in life is to come back in union with your divine counterpart. Each person has to develop their own spiritual and intellectual potential to the fullest before this union can occur. She was taken from his side, so she is an equally yoked companion and a helpmate to help him serve his purpose in life. Ish and Isha are divine masculine and feminine energies that reside in every human. They are represented by two serpents that intertwine and wind up the spinal column. When they were separated, the male still carried the female aspect of her, and vice versa. The Gospel of Thomas 106. When you make the two one, you will become sons of man, and when you say mountain move away, it will move away. They become whole again, divine heavenly beings possessing power to achieve incredible things.